All right. It is time for another episode of Mondays with Matt and Marion. I am your host, Matt and Marion. What a day to be alive. August 31st, 2020. Getting shit going. Getting ready to go back to school. Can you believe it? How do you feel about that? I don't know how I feel about it, but I will tell you, I just accepted a long-term substitute position teaching math once again at Oak Hill High School to freshmen, teaching them some algebra. I'm not a math person really, but when I started substituting a couple years ago, I accepted a long-term position teaching trigonometry down at what used to be Valley High School, which is no more. And it was just kind of lucky, really. I mean, I had some luck teaching my students and got my name in there in the hat that they draw now whenever they need a substitute teacher for math. So what did I get myself into, right? Yeah, I'm a little nervous about it. Here in Fayette County, we're doing students with the last name A through L go 2 days, and then they're off for the rest of the week. And then M through Z are on for 2 days, and the other 2 days for them are online. But a lot of stuff's going into it. I know that they're sending the kids home after their second day. They're sending them home with some food for lunch for the next 2 days. So I think that's awesome. A lot of planning going into it. My heart goes out to the administrators that have to deal with this right now. I do think it's a little early right now. I think Fayetteville is orange and that yellow, whatever, that collar system, and orange isn't very good. But we're still going back to school. Yep. No chorus classes. I guess they're going to have chorus, but no singing. So a mute chorus class. That really sucks. That was my thing, and all through middle school, did chorus, high school did show choir, and I just couldn't imagine not being able to sing with my fellow classmates. That's something I look back on and gives me a lot of joy to think back on. Sometimes I get sad because I wish I was young again, wish I was little, wish I was in 6th grade, do it all over again. I did not like middle school. I was really cool in elementary school. Thought I was funny and I was relaxed and popular. And then middle school happened and that just, the rug got pulled out from underneath me and I was lame all of a sudden. But here I am now. I'm cool now. Or I just don't really give a shit as much as I used to. Either one of those. Maybe they go hand in hand. But how was your week, everybody? Did you have a good one? I had a pretty good week. I actually did work. I started working at the middle school at first, and then I was going to be teaching social studies, but that position was going to be taken soon, and then I got offered the math position, so it's somewhat more solid, but I don't get to work for the rest of the week. I don't get to go in and prepare my lessons for the students or get paid for it. I'm still going to prepare for them this week, even though I'm not getting paid, but hey, students first. Students first. There's a teacher retiring, and that has to process first before I can get in there. So here I am in this position. Just glad I have a job, though. It did feel great. It felt great to go to work those few days. Work is work, but it felt good to have to get up early for something for once. And at the end of the day, when I got back, I felt good. Kind of had that high from working and being a little productive throughout the day. And so you feel like you earn your dinner and maybe that drink after work. But now I'm just back to not having anything to do on Monday. So I'll probably have to start recording these on Sundays whenever work does start so I can get these podcasts out in a timely fashion for you folks. Do want to thank you guys once again for listening. We're getting more listens every week, at least more full-time listens, and you guys have been with me from day one, and you keep listening. That means more than anything to me in the whole world at this point, besides a lot of other things like family and stuff, but I'll just say you guys mean the world to me. Okay, we'll just say that. But yeah, I hope y'all had a great week. Maybe some of you all are returning to work. I think good news for musicians. We got the ball rolling. Hopefully for a plan to reopen some music in this state, because gosh, we need it. We need it. I don't care. I don't care if I'm playing for half the people that usually are allowed to be there. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I just want to play some music for folks. So yeah, it's been a pretty good week for me. Half productive, half sitting on my ass. Celebrated a birthday. It was my girlfriend's little brother's 18th birthday. So I got to celebrate with that. And some of his friends. We had a good time. Played some volleyball. Man, volleyball's fun as hell. I never really played much growing up, but I played with him and his friends and held my own. I did hold my own. My forearm's a little sore. Cut my toe. But it felt good to be physically active for once in my life. I didn't really go hiking at all. The weather, it's either been like super hot, which is no excuse, or it's been raining. It's really cloudy right now. It rained hard last night, man. But I love that. I loved waking up and just hearing the rain pour down all over the world as I went back into my slumber. So that was nice. Once again, I'm all coffeeed out. Got me some Dunkin' Donuts beans. A little expensive, but it's worth it. So let's get into this thing, man. We'll just start with some good news. And I found a really good news article that made me laugh. This article says, this woman's lifelong fear of fruit and vegetables was cured, however you want to say it, by hypnotherapy. Okay. I do have some friends that are scared of vegetables. My friend Benji, I think he's finally getting over it, but all throughout high school and most of college, he hated lettuce. So he just hated everything about it. He hated how it felt in his hand. He hated the sound of it. Hated the crunch in his mouth. So I think I snuck some lettuce in his bag a couple times, and it was one of those things like, man, that seriously wasn't funny, dude. That was not cool. And I felt bad about that. But anyways, let's get on with this article. A British woman who has eaten only cheese, fries, and pasta for more than 20 years after developing a fear of fruit and vegetables has been largely cured by hypnotherapy. I'm just going to say cured, okay? So before her treatment, Jenny Edgar would gag if she tried anything other than dry cereal, cheese, and biscuits, or her typical dinner of pasta or chips. Jeez, Jenny, that is not healthy. Kind of reminds me of my girlfriend's dad. He doesn't eat any vegetables. 0 vegetables. Except for mashed potatoes. It's taken me a while to get it out of her. Like, does he eat this? Does he eat that? But he does eat potatoes in mashed form. Anyways, even her Christmas dinner was mac and cheese washed down with a glass of water. You didn't even drink pop? The 32-year-old health center receptionist... She's a health center receptionist from Coventry in England. Avoided eating out as any fruit, vegetables, or fish would leave her feeling ill. After getting engaged, she decided to face her lifelong... Stop moving, Paige. After getting engaged, she decided to face her lifelong fear of nutritious food to lose weight before getting married next March. Incredibly, after 6 hypnotherapy sessions, Jenny can now dig into some of her most feared foods. She said, "When I was a child, I would eat raisins and grapes but hated vegetables. I really hated the texture on some fruits, like the fuzz on peaches or the juiciness." If this article keeps moving, I'm going to freak out. I had a good accent going. Why did it move? Stupid ads. This is the Good News Network. Usually they treat me right, but this is bullshit. Okay. I really hated the texture on some fruits like the fuzz on peaches or the juiciness of tomatoes, so just didn't eat them. When I was in my teens, it wasn't really a problem because I was quite slim, but after going to college and having my son, I really noticed the weight going on. One Sunday, I went for dinner at my fiance's house, and I had to take my own ready meal of macaroni and cheese. It was very embarrassing, and it was getting me down. I just thought to myself that if I don't sort it out, now then I never will. Jenny also decided to tackle her fears to help her 8-year-old son, Kian, have a healthy diet. Because I don't like fruit and veg, I've only been buying him strawberries, but I want him to try lots of different things. Jenny visited hypnotherapist Russell Hemmings, who coached her using cognitive behavior therapy and hypnotherapy to overcome her phobia. Wow. She said, the first session I had was amazing. He just talked to me in a really relaxed way. It got me to try 5 different fruits. I put a piece of pineapple in my mouth, and I just couldn't believe the flavor. After a few more sessions, Russell cooked up fresh fish, vegetables, which tasted great. I was worried to try them at first, but then after a few nibbles, I was hooked. I'm sorry. Now Jenny... Oh my God, this article. Now Jenny is looking forward to expanding her cooking skills and is even planning on growing her own veg at home. Hemmings explains that food aversion can grow very strong and can also, unfortunately, last a lifetime. Usually, if food textures have been limited or not experienced, whilst growing up as the fussy eater, it limits their choice food, so a fresh tomato, for instance, can be overwhelming. Trying to cope with the seeds, flesh, juice, and skin can be simply too much for a fussy eater to handle. Seeds, flesh, juice, and skin. Sounds like a heavy metal band. By using a 3-pronged approach of coaching, hypnotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, I was able to rewire Jenny's responses so she no longer feared certain foods. She has made incredible progress, and she motivated to enjoy a healthier, more balanced, and exciting diet which will improve her and her family's lifestyle. Wow, what a great, good news story to start off our week. So those of you that haven't been eating vegetables, all you have to do is get some hypnotherapy and be hypnotized into eating right. That's all it takes. I've been trying to eat right. I just find that if I'm eating shitty food or unhealthy food, that's all I crave is really unhealthy food. I just want a greasy hamburger and fries just about every day, or tacos every day. But if I start eating healthy, I start craving that. Especially if I'm exercising, I'm just like, man, I don't want to waste all that shit I just did on a hamburger. Or it's kind of motivation to exercise, like, hey, if I exercise and burn this amount of calories that this double cheeseburger is, I can have a double cheeseburger, and it won't affect me as bad. But, get tomatoes on there. Get some onions on there. I actually looked up, like, are onions good for you? And I think they are. I love onions. A lot of people don't. For breakfast, I had some avocado toast with egg, a little slice of tomato, and then 3 really thick pieces of bacon. So that kind of throws all that healthy shit out the window. That was some good news to start the week, though. Jenny, good for you. Good for you, sister. Keep eating healthy. All right, let's go ahead and move this along. We got a lot of questions to answer after this first section, so let's get through this. It's time for Movies with Matt. So my good movie for the week is 2016's The Nice Guys. I saw it in theaters way back in the day. It stars Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, and IMDb describes it as, in 1970s Los Angeles, a mismatched pair of private eyes investigate a missing girl and the mysterious death of a porn star. It's awesome. I guess it's somewhat of a period piece, so it's I think the year's 1977 or something around there, and it's in Hollywood and LA, and you see a lot of iconic spots in LA at the time, and Gas was really expensive then, and LA was covered in smog. I don't know if it's worse than it is now. I know it's still covered in smog, which I have heard it's gone down since COVID's happened and not as many cars have been around the area, so there's a lot less smog. But there's a shit ton of smog on the horizon. The Hollywood sign looks like shit. And it's hilarious. But it's action-packed. Ryan Gosling is absolutely hilarious in it. Excuse me. Yeah, his humor's like, it's almost slapstick humor that he does, but he does it really well. Russell Crowe, as in everything, is amazing. Definitely check that out. Once again, it has a child actor in it. Ryan Gosling's daughter. Who is that? Angry Rice or Angery Rice? I don't know how to say her name. Angourie. I should probably learn how to read before I start doing podcasts, right? Too late, though. We're on episode 9. So I'm just going to keep going. But she's a great actress in this. She's probably only like 12 or something when they made this, and she's amazing in it. And a lot of other good actors in it. Nobody really sucks in it. Very, very good film. So check out The Nice Guys. It is on... I have it on Hulu, but it might be on HBO. I'm not really sure. Sorry. Find it on your own. Google it. The bad movie I want to talk about. This bad movie got me into all shitty movies, like having fun watching a shitty movie. And the movie is Troll 2. It gets a whopping 2.9 out of 10 on IMDb. At one point, it was the record for the lowest score on Rotten Tomatoes in history with like a 1 or something. But the movie's called Troll 2. It was made in 1990, and it has nothing to do with Troll 1. And it's questionably not even about trolls. IMDb's little synopsis says it's about a vacationing family discovers that the entire town they're visiting is inhabited by goblins, disguised as humans, who plan to eat them. It is hilarious. I discovered it when I was in high school, probably my junior or sophomore year of high school. This movie suddenly appeared on HBO On Demand, and I don't even know why I watched it. But I clicked on it and I watched it, and it was so bad. It was so funny. I just found it so funny, and I couldn't wait to show my friends. My friend Eric came over and spent the night, and we watched it and just cracked up the whole time. It is so funny. And then we drank all my dad's tequila, and he got very upset. Yes. I might not have been in high school, actually. It might have been I was visiting from college. I don't remember, folks. But I do remember drinking all my dad's tequila, and for some reason I didn't think he would be mad. And I don't think I've ever disappointed my dad more in my life. He was very upset with me. But check out Troll 2 if you really want a good laugh. You could probably find it on Amazon. And something that goes along with it that you should watch after is a documentary called Best Worst Movie. And it's on Troll 2. And it's actually the documentary's made by the boy that plays the little boy in Troll 2. And it just kind of goes along with this cult following, because after it went on HBO randomly, all kinds of people saw it and fell in love with it the same way I did. And they find the old actors that were in it, and it's the icing on the cake with the movie. It gets a 7.3 out of 10, so it's a really good documentary. So check that out. Watch Troll 2, watch the documentary, Best Worst Movie, and you're going to have a good time. Also, something I want to mention, you all play video games? Huh? Anybody? I know some people just fucking hate video games. Some people love video games. Some people play them sometimes. I started really getting into this game, though, called Ghost of Tsushima. You're a samurai. Mongols have taken over an area of Japan, and you're fighting all of them off, and it is amazing. It's like Assassin's Creed, if you've ever played that, but you're a samurai. I like it a lot more than Assassin's Creed. I've been pretty obsessed with it lately. That's how I've been spending my downtime, and thank God for it, because I'd be really bored without it. yeah, I should be doing other things like picking up a guitar and making music or writing or cutting my grass or weed eating. I want to talk about some with weed eating because in my neighborhood, people have their chain link fences that border their yard. But I was told your chain link fence was supposed to be within your property line. So you had to weed eat the side on the inside of your fence and the outside of your fence. You had to weed eat both. But that's not how it goes down here. The chain link fence is right on the edge of the property. So you put a chain link fence in, and all of a sudden your neighbor has to weed eat. That's bullshit. You should weed eat both sides of your fucking fence. Excuse my language. But the people behind me are renting, so I'm not really mad to them about it. But they keep their yard really nice. And mine, I kind of let my grass grow as much as I can before I am forced to cut it from embarrassment. And they always keep their side nice and weed-eated. And there's my side just ruining everything, ruining their view. And they probably hate me. And it's just bullshit. If you have a fence, you should have to weed eat both sides of it. Does that make sense? All right, that's as angry as I'm going to get for the rest of the podcast, okay? We do have a good friend of mine has a comedy show happening at Charlie's in Fayetteville. Make sure I get the time right. It's outdoors, so you don't got to worry about getting COVID. Don't stand too close to him, though. But it's at 8 on Thursday at Charlie's in Fayetteville. And his name is Lawton Parnell. He's been doing stand-up comedy for a very long time. I was hoping to maybe get him on the podcast here eventually. But he's amazing. I saw him perform quite a few times up in Morgantown. He runs the open mic that they would have at 123, open mic comedy night. And super funny dude. I will be there. So if anybody wants to come see me, wants to hang out with me, I'll be there on Thursday at Charlie's at 8 o'clock for Lawton's comedy show. Super, super funny dude. I cannot wait. This is the most excited I've been for an event during all of COVID. So I'm very excited about that. He also has an amazing restaurant as well as food truck called Cheese Louise. And they're specialized in grilled cheeses, but not just your mom's Velveeta grilled cheese. You can get that. You can get a very simple, just grilled cheese. But they have what do they have? Like buffalo dip grilled cheese. That's amazing. And they have specials every week. I saw they had a Philly cheesesteak grilled cheese not long ago. So if you need a food truck, I think he'll probably travel all around West Virginia. If you need a good food truck, get Cheese Louise. We actually had them at Groovin, at the last Groovin, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. My girlfriend and her friend loved it. They talk about it all the time. They called him Jesus. Or Cheesus. Maybe it was Cheesus. I guess he hooked them up with a free grilled cheese, and that just made their whole festival Lawton. So thank you so much for that. Great grilled cheeses. Great comedy. It's a really great combo. I don't think he's bringing his food truck down, but that's an idea though, Lawton. Do stand-up comedy out the back of your cheese truck. Grilled cheese truck. So yeah, go to that. Lawton Parnell at Charlie's in Fayetteville. Thursday, 8 o'clock. It's free, and it's outside. Doesn't get any better than that during these times. We're all broke, and we don't want to be close to each other. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, man. I've been wanting to do some stand-up comedy of my own during this time. It's been hard. There's not really any open mics. Been working on bits in my head. I've had dreams of doing comedy on stage. Right now, though, I don't have anything, to tell you the truth. I don't have 5 minutes. I don't even know if I have 1 minute. I'm more of just I think I'm funny, but I'm more of a kind of just organic funny as things happen. And I'm not always funny. I say a lot of shit that's not funny. But, I guess I've bombed just in conversation All comedians talk about how they have to bomb and get better. I bet stand-up comedy is super difficult. I listen to a lot of stand-up comedian podcasts and watch a lot of stand-up comedy, and I love it. I bet there's nothing like making a whole room or a whole crowd laugh. There's a lot of magic in there. And I've heard that all musicians want to be comedians and all comedians want to be musicians. I definitely think all musicians want to be comedians. We're always trying to say shit on the microphone to make people laugh, and the more I play, the less I say on the microphone because I just realize they just want to hear us play some music and shut up. But sometimes I say some funny shit. John always thinks of really funny stuff. He's really good at the microphone during shows. I know he's done a little bit of stand-up comedy and talks about how hard it was, but Lawton makes it look easy. He's been doing it for a long time, has a lot of shows under his belt, so can't wait for that. All right, let's get into some questions. I might not be as prepared for these questions. I typed them out and was thinking about them. Some of them, it was very hard for me to think of an answer, but let's just get into it. And if you have any questions you want for next week's podcast, shoot me a message on Facebook. You can comment. I always make a post about ask me any questions on the Matt Marion's podcast page or my own page. Can't get anybody to comment on the Matt Marion's podcast page. I don't know if Facebook just fucking hates that page. I don't think it wants to share it. I basically have to pay Facebook to share anything from it. God damn Facebook. But I got a lot of questions this week on my personal page, and you can always be anonymous if you want. You could shoot me a direct message and just say, hey, I don't want anybody to know who asked this question, and that's fine. We can be anonymous. Nobody asked to be anonymous this week. But I will also, if you have a business, a band, anything that you want me to give a shout out to, I'll do it for free. I just want a question to answer. That's it. No other podcast in the world does that, okay? So let's get into these questions. The first question is from Adam Payne. Adam has a great thing going with his business called Music to Your Ears Productions. Not just Music to Your Ears, but Jam Bandwidth. He has Jam Bandwidth, so he's on the front lines of live streaming bands. He has a great setup. He can come in, he can live stream your band if you need it to be. He can project it to all the sources that you want it to be, all the platforms. He has all the right connections, and if you need anything live streamed and need some help, he is your man. So Jam Bandwidth. He has a channel on YouTube, he's on Facebook, and he literally can broadcast to every outlet that you need, so to make sure that people see your stuff. And good quality too. But Adam Payne also asks, what do you think about when you are on stage? Well, I talked about this a little bit last week, and ideally, I just want to be in the moment with the music, right? That doesn't always happen. As soon as I realize I'm just thinking about the music, I'm suddenly not thinking just about the music, but it's definitely, ideally, it's a meditative thing where I'm only thinking about that and just really into it. So that's ideal, but a lot of things run through my mind sometimes. I really focus on the performance aspect of it, and when you're doing that, you do have to kind of tell yourself, look out in the crowd. Don't just look in the front row. Look in the back. What's that dude on the left doing? Make contact with them. Check out those people on the right. Just making sure I have contact with everybody in the audience, so they feel like I'm playing for them. So I think a lot about that. Think about not messing up. It's amazing what can go through my head. Like when we're covering a rap tune and I'm rapping, I'm doing it very fast, but I'm always thinking about the line like a couple lines from then. So I'm singing this line, but I'm actually thinking about the next couple lines as I'm doing it. So it just flows better. The lines aren't surprising me or anything. And sometimes there's a lot of just like a lot of nervousness during that. Like if I think like, what is the next line? Fuck, I can't think of the next line, but I'm rapping right now. And then all of a sudden it's there. And I've noticed some of the best rap tunes, their lyrics lead to another. They're not just random lyrics. So every one it's like a train of thought. So it's not just random line after line. There are some raps, like amazing rap songs that are like that. But most of the ones I do are not like that. They're just a train of thought, and one line leads to the other. So it kind of, one line will give you a clue to what the next line is. And with rapping too, that I think a lot of people don't understand is there's a lot of breathing involved. Like I'm not breathing too well in today's podcast. I get really excited and I start talking. But when you're rapping, you have to catch a breath whenever you can, because you are talking a lot. And there's been so many times when I've been rapping, especially like jump around because I physically jump around during the chorus. But I'll start running out of breath, and you just can't catch it because I wasn't breathing early on. So I think about my breathing a lot. It really is mostly thinking about the music. I'm not thinking about Cheese Louise grilled cheese sandwiches while I'm up there. But sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm thinking like, man, I can't wait to eat something after this, but not really too many random thoughts. A lot of my thoughts are just from my performance. Like the music's kind of natural and you're doing it. And then the performance aspect is something that you have to actively think about. So I think that concludes my answer to that. Sometimes I'll be thinking like, so my answer is not concluded. So a lot of times I'll be thinking about like my other bandmates. Like, man, Tommy's drums are killing it right now. That fill he just did was the shit. And that makes me happy, which makes me smile, which makes me presentable for the audience. John's beside me, so I'm always thinking like this bass is killing it and really feeling this rhythm section. Croft's singing or playing a really cool effect, and Wes is always crushing it on guitar. So I really just try to think positive the whole time on stage. If I mess up or anybody messes up, it's just kind of maybe smile, kind of laugh it off is a good way to deal with that instead of getting pissed off inside, because you just got to keep on moving on. The audience probably didn't catch that mess up, and even if they did, you can't linger on that thought that you just messed up. You just move on. And there's been plenty of times I've messed up, for sure. So, good question, Adam. Moving along to Keith. Keith says, what is your pre-performance routine? I don't really have one too much. I like to get like maybe a drink or just make sure I have water on stage. I'll stretch my arms out a little bit, get on my congas a little bit just to make sure I can get that slap, make sure my hand's ready and warmed up, because sometimes it does take me a moment to get my slap right on my conga and just get my hands ready, especially as I get older. Sometimes I think about my Pawpaw Bud. He performed on stage. He was on Broadway. He was in the first Oklahoma. The first time Oklahoma was out, he was in that first cast as a dancer. So sometimes I'll think about that. Just Pawpaw helped me have a good show today. Little things like that. And I haven't thought about that in a while, actually. But yeah, I just try to stay relaxed, joke around with the band a little bit, kind of get in that good mood that I want to present on stage. So if I'm having like not a good day, I want to get that out of my mind. So really just focus. I think it's nice just to get, at a festival, you have to get all your stuff out and get it organized. So that kind of gets my mind right for the stage. And I kind of jump up and down a little bit, wave my arms back and forth. Don't really know if it does anything, but feels good. I'm doing it right now. Just roll my shoulders back, breathing. making sure I'm breathing for this podcast. But yeah, nothing too routine. I just try to be in a good mood and get ready for the show. So that's a great question. All right, so I have a question from my buddy Reese Harvey. He's a good friend of mine, and we just created a band called Kettle Corn, him and his friends, and he asked me to put a song on their record as well. So I guess I'm a part of Kettle Corn, and it's really just a really fun, joking album. He literally asked me, said, "Hey, just write something shitty for this album." But he also him and his friends make amazing videos. He was actually a student of mine at Valley High School, and he graduated, and since then we've kept in touch and became good friends. Super good dude. But his friends and him and his friends make amazing, hilarious videos, and they're on YouTube, and his channel is called Planet TV. So subscribe to Planet TV and watch these videos. They're hilarious. He's had a couple of Go Get 'Em Boys 1 and 2, getting ready to film Go Get 'Em Boys 3, and he has a lot of plans for a zombie movie coming up, and I'm actually going to be in Go Get 'Em Boys 3. I might be in Go Get 'Em Boys 2, but I'm not going to tell you. Maybe I'm at the very beginning. Maybe I'm not. Check out that video. I love this guy so much. He's gotten me to create in times where I wouldn't have been creating. Him asking me to do this tune kind of got me out of a rut of not playing music. But whenever he said, "Hey, just make a song that's stupid. It doesn't need to make sense, just whatever." And that really just helped, because the very first thing I thought of, I just rolled with it. So after I talk about this question, I'm going to show you that song. It's called Flowers, or Flower. I forget what I named it. But Reese Harvey asks, "What song are you most proud of writing?" It's a good question. I hate to say I'm not like super proud of some things, but eventually they are like things I've written. But over time, I start liking them more. Wes wrote pretty much all the music for Discotheque. Our guitarist, Wes Hager, wrote Discotheque, instrumental, and then there's been a couple times where I've written the lyrics for those songs and sang them, and I wrote the lyrics for Discotheque, and I am proud of that song. I mean, it's literally just one verse that's repeated, and then after that, just the line, "All around the world our heads are spinning." And every time we do that song, that's something I do think about on stage. Every time I say, like, "all around the world our heads are spinning," the world is crazier than it was the show before or the year before. And that's off of our first album. And I mean, maybe it's just because I pay attention to the world more than I used to, but it just seems like every time I sing that song, our heads really are spinning all around this world. So I'm pretty proud of that one, just because I feel like it stood the test of time. I haven't really written too many songs for Fletcher's Grove, like maybe one song per album at the most, maybe two. So I really liked Dark Room off of our last album, Waiting Out the Storm. And Dark Room's just kind of a slower one. But it was like I was decently proud of the writing, but it was really my bandmates that made that song. So once I just saw how my bandmates made it so great, I was proud of it, but also just realizing how much my bandmates contribute to this writing, because it's, at the end of the day, we all are kind of combining to make these tunes. I don't have the best words to use today, but we made like a deal with each other that like we don't get 100% of the proceeds from anything that our songs can make. You get most of them as the writer, but we all share a percentage. Like if that song just took off on the billboards, we'd all get some money from doing it, because it is a group effort. And so yeah, I guess I would say Dark Room, man. But I wrote a song called Reality Shadows. We don't really do it too much anymore, but just about, I kind of based it around Plato's cave. It was the way Plato described how everybody's reality is different, just depending on your experiences and everything. And that theory in college just kind of opened my eyes to how everybody has a different perspective on something. I mean, anything. I mean, if you were looking at a flag, just any flag, like, I mean, I really, the very first time I had thought about this was I was like in middle school and I was at the wave pool and I was just looking at this flag there, just like a colorful flag. It wasn't for a country or for any group or anything. And I remember just thinking how I feel like when I'm looking at this flag and how somebody else would feel totally different on the inside about the world and how they saw the flag, and just trying to look at it differently. That's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, so you can listen to that on Spotify and check that out. But this Kettle Corn album will also be on Spotify. It's called Kettle Corn from the Live from the Top of the World. It's not a live album, but they kind of made it like it's a live album. So I'm going to go ahead and play this song. It's called, let me make sure I have the name right for it. It's called Flower. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. It's a really short tune. It's really goofy, so don't think I'm meaning these lyrics too much. I am proud of some of the harmonies at the end of it. So here is Kettle Corn, Flower.
Yeah, this is Kettle Corn in the house. Hope you're ready for this one. Hit that beat. Remind me of a flower, like a tulip or a rose. Those are the only ones I know. I should probably get out more, but I'm locked up in my house. I made a friend with a dead mouse. I named her Sunflower. I feed her cheese every hour. You need to do all that I ask. Every single little task. I made a list up on the fridge. Don't talk to me until it's done. Rose, you remind me of a rose, the only flower that I know. You remind me of a rose. Rose, you remind me of a rose, the only flower that I know. You remind me of a rose. Rose. Rose.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that tune. Check out, once again, Kettle Corn, Live from the Top of the World. It should be out on Spotify by Thursday. So like it. And we do have plans for a somewhat like a comedy western album coming up after this. I just recorded that tune off of, I don't have a studio. I've literally just have GarageBand and I have this microphone set up. So I just used drums from the GarageBand and a synthesizer from GarageBand, just using my keyboard, but it does have a lot of cool instruments to choose from. At first, I was going to make that song acoustic, but then I put a synthesizer effect in it, and just I couldn't really find a good way to record my guitar to make it sound very good. So it's pretty simple. So I can't wait to work more with Reese and the rest of the Kettle Corn gang, and we'll get things rolling. Also, I'd like to start doing some shows with Reese. He's a great guitarist, great singer. So follow him on Instagram and Facebook, whatever you have to. All right, let's go ahead and move to the next question. Alex Thompson. He had a great question last week, and he has another good one today. Somewhat of an inside story, but I'll explain it. He says, what is the story behind Estabio? All right, so it was either Estabio or Estavio. I forget which it was. We'll say it's Estabio because that's what you said. But we were on tour. I think we were maybe heading out west, but we had a show in Columbus. But the day before that show, or the day after, the Rolling Stones were playing at Ohio State's football field. And nothing against Ohio State fans, I know, but I hate Ohio State as a Mountaineer fan. There's just a long history behind that. But anyways, so we all got tickets to go see the Rolling Stones at Ohio State's football field, giant football field. And we were or football stadium, I should say. We were super far away, like basically watching people watch a concert. Like the wind would come and affect the sound of the music and everything. So it was just, we were very far away, but it was still really cool, man. Those guys look like 20-year-olds just moving around, running around the stage. Amazing performance. And I thought it was cool. I didn't know, they do a different set just about every day, every show. They might play a couple of their same hits every one, but they do a different set every time. So I thought that was really cool. And whenever we were headed there, Wes was like, I hope they play Estabio. We said, what? What song's that? He's like, Estabio. Estabio, never stop, whatever. And we're like, it's Start Me Up. He said, what? He's like, I thought it was Estabio. So the whole time he would hear that on the radio, he thought they're going, Estabio. Well, Estabio, you'll never stop. Estabio. So hope you all get a kick from that story. We still think it's funny. Alex never forgets that. He's a huge Rolling Stones fan. He's seen them a lot. So I can't wait to go see them again. I'm sure they'll do another tour sometime. Maybe not, though. That'd be sad. Anyways, moving right along here. Larry Dorsey. He's an amazing sound technician. He has a sound production company called Sacred AV. So if you need somebody, he has all the stuff. He has all the speakers, soundboard, microphones, amazing sound system. I know a lot of people are kind of having their own shows in their backyard. So if you need somebody to put on a concert, a legit concert or a festival, whatever you need sound for, Larry Dorsey and Sacred AV can do the job. So definitely like them on Facebook. If you need anything like that, hit them up. They give you a great deal. Last time we worked with them was actually at a wedding, and they crushed it. They have so much great equipment, and you sound great, and it just kind of makes the show as a musician if you have a good sound system behind you, or in front of you, rather. But he says, if the pandemic keeps powering along, do you think there will be a fall shutdown? Man, I don't know how politicized this shit's gotten. They might try to have a fall shutdown, but I don't know. I think you're just going to have people that refuse to do it and going to be all pissed off about it. And it's just going to, it'll be bad. I don't know. I feel like we're like half shut down now because half the people are down to do what the CDC asks and the other half don't believe the CDC or whatever percentage it is of people. So there might be a fall shutdown, but I don't know how effective it will be. It sucks that some of the businesses would be shut down once again, but then everybody's just going to go to grocery stores and be jam-packed in there, and so it's all bad. I hope not, though. I hope it just slowly starts going down. But I don't know. I don't know how long school's going to go on. Once we get back, we have that pandemic plan for the first 2 weeks, and then after that, it's just a question mark. So, John Ingram of Fletcher's Grove, amazing bass player. Also, I really loved his band Slugfest. He's involved in almost every aspect in Charleston live music scene. He works for Mountain Stage and organizes Live on the Levee. He's organized some of those amazing tribute shows, like that Tom Petty tribute show was legendary. I wish I could have been there. But he asked, have you ever messed your pants on stage? Why are you so interested, John? Sounds like you've probably messed your pants on stage and you just want somebody that you can reconcile with about it. Well, I hate to disappoint you, but no, I have never messed my pants on stage. I don't know what it is about going on stage, but I think my holes just close up. Like I rarely have to pee when I'm playing. I don't know if it's from nerves or just excitement. I know some of the guys usually have to pee at one point when they're just like, man, I had to pee that whole time. But I'm closed up in every aspect of movements, bowel movements, and what have you on stage. And I have always wondered, like, what happens if I'm like going to really have to use the bathroom while I'm on stage, or what if you do poop your pants? What if you shart while you're singing? I fart. I don't shart. Farts cause so much distress on stage, though, because somebody farts, and your own fart doesn't really bother you too much, but John has a great nose. He smells a burp. Like if I burp on stage, he'll be like, "What the fuck? You just burp?" I know Crofts talked about like just singing, like letting out like a big old like oh, and like as he's doing it, he's farting, and it's just he has like an out of body experience as it happens. So those are things that happen on stage. I don't remember John peeing his pants or pooping at any Fletcher's Grove shows. Maybe Slugfest. Sounds like members of Slugfest would probably have that go on. But no, John, I never have messed my pants on stage. I've messed my pants at work, not at school, thank God. But one time I was working at Lazy Boy and I sharted, and it was bad. It was like after a night of Jägermeister, and it just went through like both my pants. So anyways, sorry if I grossed you all out on that one. Let's move on, John, you nasty boy. All right, James Watson of Dying Breed Art Collective Festival Vending. Dying spelled like what is that? How you spell dying if you're dying too? But I think it's more like tie-dyeing, spelled D-Y-I-N-G. Dying Breed Art Collective. I'm sure they have great stuff for sale and for you all to buy at your festies. But James, I know you've come to at least maybe a couple groove-ins. I've seen you around, see you around a lot of shows. So thank you for all your support, man. Really appreciate you. And he says, what's with Wes and his tracksuits? I think it was I think he saw a member of The Works was wearing a tracksuit, and he just like thought that he looked so good, like up on stage. And it just happened out of nowhere, man, because he didn't always do it. He hasn't really been doing it lately either. He has a mullet now, but I don't know. It is becoming pretty iconic of Wes to wear these suits, and but I really don't know. He looks great though, doesn't he? I think whenever he starts working out, though, he likes to show off his guns, so I don't think he wants to wear long sleeves. But I don't know. He has a great collection, though. He really is. He has a great collection going on nowadays with that. So I'll have to ask him that, man. I will ask Wes about his... I didn't have a chance to talk to him before this, but I will ask him to get some deets on that question. He does. It's pretty much strictly Adidas, though. Anything else is just a knockoff, according to him. I think he should get like those like the 3 stripes tattooed down the side of his arms. So he always has a tracksuit, maybe down the sides of his legs. So when he's naked, he has a tracksuit on. You get the Adidas. That'd be a badass tattoo, actually. It'd be impressive. Get the Adidas on your chest, little mark. Maybe a zipper tattooed down the middle of your chest. I wonder if anybody's done that. I kind of want to look it up, actually. I'm going to look it up right now. Tracksuit tattoo. Tracksuit tattoo. Nah, just a bunch of affliction hoodies are coming up. Tracksuit, Ed Hardy tracksuit body. See some body tattoos. No, these are bringing up naked images. No, they're not naked. They have like tattoo body suits. Some people do have tattoos all over their bodies. It's amazing. Well, that's an idea, Wes. I know he doesn't have any tattoos, but you should get the whole tracksuit tattooed onto your body. So when you are in your birthday suit, you still got a tracksuit. All right, moving right along. Tommy Bailey, drummer for Fletcher's Grove, my buddy. He records, I know I mentioned this a lot, Riot City Studios in Morgantown. He just recorded Lit's album. He's recorded a lot of bands' albums, makes them sound really good. He can record you, he can mix you, he can do all that stuff. He does a great job, super, super smart, and very detail-oriented, knows everything there is to know about recording, and he's always learning, too. He's always wanting to take classes and go to, I can't think of any fucking words right now. He likes to go to, like, conventions and stuff like that to learn more about music recording. And he asks, any memorable or favorite moments in the recording studio? Well, Tommy, you know, I kind of suck at recording. I just get kind of nervous. But one that just came to mind was I took that hiatus from the band for a couple years, and it really sucked too. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I wanted to start a career somewhere. I started working at UPS, and I had to quit, and then I hated that job. And then I moved to Michigan for a minute and hated that. And I remember I called Croft because I went through a breakup, but I was still in Michigan for a few days, and I think I sent him a text just like, hey, man, I think I'd like to move to Morgantown, and if you know anywhere to live or something, you know, just let me know. And he immediately called me, man, and that still means so much to me. I think about it a lot, actually. That was just a really nice thing for him to do. He called me and was just like, what's going on, man? And do you need a place to stay? And so he said I could just move in with him at his house, and then Tommy actually came by. I was at the house, and I wasn't asked to join the band back. I mean, of course I wanted to, but I also understood. I mean, I kind of abandoned my band, so I knew I didn't deserve to be just asked back in the band. And Tommy came by one day and just gave me this book, this percussion book, world percussion book, and it's right here. It's called The Essence of Afro-Cuban Percussion and Drum Set. And it just goes into great detail on techniques and how to play congas. And before I left, I was just kind of playing congas not really a traditional way, just right-handing, right to left hand kind of stuff. And I sat down with that book and I was going through a lot of stuff through my, at the time, just in my mind and everything. And I sat down with that book, and it was great. I started learning how to play congas the traditional way with like the heel toe thing with my left hand. It's kind of hard to explain on here, but it took me a bit, and I worked on it every day. I mean, and a part of me was like, I'm sure Croft can hear me practicing, so I'm going to keep on doing this. And maybe he's telling the guys that Matt's been working hard, and he can, maybe they'll ask him to join the band after they realize that he wants to be back in it so much. And so eventually they did. The guys asked me to be back in the band, asked me to go do a show with them, and so I was super, super pumped to be back in the band. And they're also, at the time, recording an album. It was which album was it called? Was it just self-titled? I think it was just called self-titled. It was just self-titled, Fletcher's Grove. And I listened to all the songs. They had them mostly recorded, and then they wanted me to add the percussion parts to them. And I worked really hard just wanting to know exactly what I was doing on each track and on the congas. And I came in the studio one day, and it was just me and Tommy. And Tommy had me all set up in the recording room, and I just laid down the conga parts. Didn't really have to do too many takes either. I remember whenever I first recorded with Tommy, I was all over the place. Like I think I want some shaker, maybe some tambourine, but not really realizing, like, hey, you need to know what you want to go on the track, because you can't make it too hard on the person recording to pick and choose shaker, tambourine, this and that. And I just kind of knocked it out. And I just remember Tommy saying, like, yeah, Matt really came in here and just, he laid it down, man. It sounded good. And just his positive reinforcement felt great. And I didn't have any part in writing any of those tunes, but they were great songs on that album. Because I remember going to see Fletcher's Grove without me in it and just being so impressed at how good they sounded and how I really love their new songs. So that's probably one of my best moments in the studio, man. I didn't really get too stressed out. I was just really happy to be there. And sometimes I do get stressed, especially when I'm singing vocals. But that was probably my favorite memory. It was right there with you, Tommy. So I thank you for that book. And just, whenever I've really needed people, my bandmates just really stood up and took care of me. So try not to get emotional, but those guys mean so much to me, and I would do anything for them. So that's for life. All right. Getting a little teared up. Just want to calm down here for a second. Okay, so Dylan Evans, great dude, very talented, can work some magic with that fire spinning and spitting and all that good stuff, and just a super great dude. He asked me, what's the best pizza in West Virginia? Other favorite eats? Oh man, what a loaded question that is. What a loaded baked potato question. I think I mentioned on a podcast before, man, Lefty's Pizza in Morgantown. It's a Detroit-style pizza. That is one of the best pizzas I've ever had in my whole life. It's like thick pizza, and they put the sauce on top, but like it's deep dish, so the cheese gets all caramelized all around the edges. That's like my favorite part, is when the crust is just covered in cheese, but then the cheese caramelizes on the edges to give it even more of a crunch. So that's probably my favorite, like, local form pizza. And then if we're talking like big chain pizza, I do like thin crust, but there's something about that pan pizza from Pizza Hut. I love that pizza. That's just for, like I said, giant chain. That's not really West Virginia pizza. West Virginia has Geno's. Geno's is all right. I really wish they put their pepperonis on the outside of the cheese, though. They put it under the cheese, and that's just their thing, and they stick to it. I don't know if you could maybe ask them to put the pepperonis on the outside. I might do that one day, just to see if they'll do it. And my other favorite eats, well, I live here in Oak Hill, West Virginia, and there's a place called Cafe 110, and it's in downtown Oak Hill, and they have great food, great prices. The 110, I think it's just called the Cafe 110 burger, is one of the best burgers I've ever had in my life. Has a fried green tomato on it and bacon and cheese, and it's amazing. Definitely one of the best burgers I've ever had. And where else do I like to eat that's local? There's a lot of good food around Morgantown, but I miss Lefty's. I really miss Lefty's. I didn't get to go there as much as I really wanted to back in the day because I just couldn't really afford to eat out when I was living up there. So I'd definitely say Lefty's Pizza, Cafe 110 in Oak Hill is great. Secret Sandwich Society in Fayetteville is amazing. They have great sandwiches. I am a Tudor's person, Tudor's freak. I try not to get it twice a week, but it seems to happen every week. I get it twice a week. That rocket biscuit with baked steak on it and eggs, cheese. So I have to say that's my answer, man. Lefty's Pizza, Morgantown, when it comes to best pizza in West Virginia. Yeah, that's about it. That's a great question, man. You have my mind spinning on that one. All right, Emily Jo. She's definitely asked a question or two on the podcast already. Emily, thank you so much for listening. She said she'd be interested in adding some jingles for the Movies with Matt section and Good News section, and I would love to hear those. But she asks, which book or author has had the most profound influence on you and your personal philosophies, beliefs, etc.? That's a really good question. I listened to a book a little over a year ago called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. He's a beast, man. But he was overweight for a while, but then he really wanted to be what did he want to be? I think he wanted to be a Navy SEAL, or I'm not great at remembering what I read. I actually listened to the book anyways, but he ended up just completely changing his life and just realizing like the key to happiness is like repeated, or not even happiness, but you just need to constantly do repetitions of things you don't want to do, but that are good for you. So he'll run. I mean, he's just like a no excuses kind of guy. If it's raining, it doesn't matter. Go run. Just every day, do something that you don't want to do that can make you tougher. And I need to listen to that book again because I was feeling great right after, and then I slowly lose that kind of thinking. And I mean, I'll never be like, he's an ultra runner now. He runs like 100-mile races, but I do think about him a lot whenever I'm out there trail running, just trying to persevere and, not be like my old self and trying to change, like habit change. And I feel like after I listened to that book, I just started, sometimes I sit on the couch and be like, I should drink some water, but then I just wouldn't drink water for like an hour just because I'm lazy or something. But after I read that book, it would just be like, I'm thirsty, get up, get water. I need to shower, get up and take a shower, brush my teeth. Just go brush your teeth now. Don't even think about it. Do what you need to do. You might not want to do it, but do it because you need to. So I don't know if that book's for everybody. It's called Can't Hurt Me, and the audiobook's amazing because in between each chapter, he does a kind of podcast about the episode, talking to this guy that helped him write the book. And it's just cool to hear him kind of have that organic conversation instead of just reading straight from the book. Also, a book that really changed me is called The Buddha Walks into a Bar by, I'm sorry if I messed up his name, Lodro Renzler. So it's Lodro, Lodro, and then Renzler, Rinzler. And I'll just read its little forward here. It says, The Buddha Walks into a Bar is a book for those who are spiritual but not religious, who are disillusioned by the state of the world, who are sick of their jobs, and just started last Tuesday, who like drinking beer and having sex and hate being preached at, who are striving to deepen their social interactions beyond the digital realms of Twitter and Facebook. This is Buddhism presented to a generation leaving the safe growth spurts of college and entering a turbulent and uncertain workforce. The Buddha Walks into a Bar is Buddhist teacher Lodro Renzler's introduction to Buddhism for anyone who wants to ride the waves of life with mindfulness and compassion. You'll learn how to use meditation techniques to work with your own mind, how to manage the pervasive, incredible Hulk syndrome, how to relax into your life despite external pressures, and ultimately how you can start to bring light to a dark world. So it really, at the time I was working in a kitchen and just getting way too pissed off over things. And instead of realizing that pain is temporary and emotions, one of the main things I learned from that book was emotions are going to come and go. Okay, you can't ever lose that, I don't think. You're still going to have emotions, but it's how you react to them that matters. And just knowing that this emotion's going to come and then it's going to go. So you don't let it get too much of you than it really needs. I remember he explains emotions as a wave. So you can let, like, if you're standing in the water of an ocean and a wave's coming, you can let it just crash against you and just blast you and knock you down. Or that same emotion can come at you and you can kind of dive into it and let it roll over you and back, and then you can stand back up. Or I've heard like people explain, like, because it's not like you let go of all reality if you're getting into like just like this book says, it's not serious, it's not heavy Buddhism, but he tells you like some meditation techniques. And some people can look at it the wrong way, like you let go of all reality and just like, well, what then? Then you just be sitting there like a vegetable. But it's not like that. I've heard it explained, like if you have a quarter in your hand and you're squeezing it, you can open your hand, but if your hand's open, like open face up, that quarter's still in your hand. So you're still holding on to life. Like you're not losing your whole grip on reality. You're not putting your hand down and opening your hand, letting the quarter drop and hit to the ground. You're just opening yourself up and you're still holding on to that quarter, if that makes sense. They explain it a lot better in the book. So I do highly recommend that book, Buddha Walks into a Bar. My dad actually read it, and it really helped him. And, of course, he's older than me, but it still helped him a lot too. And sorry, I just sniffed in the microphone. It also, I don't know, it just helps. It's not too serious or anything. You can still be a fun person, but you just learn how to react to your emotions a little better. And it makes you feel great reading it. All right, so we have one more question. David asks, what has been your favorite experience while playing on tour? Well, that's a loaded question if I've ever heard one before in my life. My favorite experience while playing on tour? It's no single one, but I just love going to a city and then, whenever you're on tour, at least for us, we didn't have like instant success anywhere, but it's just great going to another city you've never been to, and then you have a good crowd and you have a fun show there and give them a good time and they're giving you a good time. It's I always say it's reciprocal being on stage. You have the crowd making you feel good and you're making them feel good with the music, and just it's very reciprocal. And I just feel like when I go to a city that I'm not from, but we go there and we make this thing happen. It's a happening, and you had to be there to experience it, and you are having that reciprocal change or like reciprocal thing going on. And I just feel like I'm a part of this city, but also just realizing that we're just all really similar. We had a show in Blacksburg, Virginia, at a small place. It wasn't a big show, but that's where Virginia Tech is. And I've always been a huge Mountaineer fan, and I just had that stupid thing where I'm like, I hate Hokies, I hate Virginia Tech. And then you go there and you're just like, oh, everybody's so nice. Maybe Hokies aren't that bad after all. And I just feel like traveling is just really good for you. Makes you less I'm having the worst time with words. I just need to learn I should do vocabulary every day, just learn more words. But traveling just really helps you not be, I don't know, just makes you more open. It makes you realize other people, different people, or people from different places aren't that different from you. And there's no reason to dislike people because they're from a certain area or to judge people because they're from a certain area. And one of my favorite experiences also, like, one of the last times we played out in Colorado, we played at this thing called Frozen Dead Guy Days in Nederland, Colorado. It's a beautiful mountain town out there. And we just played to like a huge crowd there because they are just people that were wanting to have a good time. A lot of them probably never heard of us before, but we had a good time. They had a good time. And then I'm just like, man, I feel like I'm a part of Colorado. I'm a part of this festival, and it feels great. So I guess that's a pretty vague answer, but that's how I'm going to answer that question. I just love going to different places and just finding a connection with other people and putting on a good show. So that's it for the questions, guys. Sorry, this is a long podcast. We're at an hour and 13 minutes. I'm going to hit you with a short story for band story time, trying to make it too long. This isn't a crazy story. This is just a story about kind of the beginnings of Fletcher's Grove. So the very first form of Fletcher's Grove was made, Ryan Kravchuk and I and our friend Evan Davis had a trio, and I just played a djembe. It was Croft's djembe. It wasn't even my own djembe. And Evan played bass, and then Croft played guitar and sang. You know, it was just this little acoustic trio thing, and we called ourselves Fletcher's Grove. We just came up with the name one night on an AIM chat room that we created, and just Fletcher was a road that my friend Ryan Pershing grew up on, and we'd go out there and just had a good time out in that area. But we thought Grove was cooler than Road, and I know that's like a really lame story, but after a while, like, I think Fletcher's Grove like earned its meaning, because Grove is a collection of trees or whatever, and we slowly got our grove to grow, more and more people becoming, a part of our little group, and just people that liked our music and friends and stuff, and just kept gaining more friends. And so it's established itself more after that. But we played at my brother's, it's probably like his 25th. I don't even know exactly what year it was. I'm guessing 2005. So it would have been my brother's like 25th birthday. And we set up, and it was a surprise party for him. It was called BMW's, not BW3's, not the wing place, but this place, it was just like a restaurant called BMW's in Cross Lanes. I don't think it's there anymore. It was just like a sports bar thing. So they put on a surprise party, and we set up. And at the time, like, my brother, I don't even think my parents had seen our little trio play. And we practiced really, really hard and learned a bunch of cool cover songs. And I'm sure we did some Crofts originals too. But we played that night, and my brother's, of course, super surprised. And then we did great. We sounded great. My brother couldn't believe it, how good we were. I mean, everybody was actually having a good time listening to our music, and that's when I feel like we're like, man, we're actually good. This is worth our time. All of our hard-earned work ended up being worth it. And that's totally, I mean, I know I've given my brother a lot of credit for Fletcher's Grove, but that show just really meant a lot. I mean, everybody just having a good time, to us playing, and seeing my brother so impressed with it, my parents, and everybody was just having such a good time, and that's really what launched us and gave us a lot of confidence into moving forward as a band. And then, slowly Fletcher's Grove grew over time, earning more members, changing our sound. And that's just really one of my favorite memories to look back on. But I'm going to go ahead and end it there, guys. I hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for listening. Please, this will be on SoundCloud, and I'm also putting every new episode on YouTube. So I need some YouTube subscribers to my channel, Mondays with Matt, or Mondays with Matt Marion, it might be called. I really need to learn what I name things, right? But just look up Mondays with Matt Marion on YouTube, and you will find this. Please subscribe. I need some more subscribers on there. Follow me on SoundCloud. And that concludes this episode. Had a really great time. Thank you all for your great questions. Makes me reflect on things. I love thinking about these kind of things. So hit me up with some questions. I'll make a post today or tomorrow asking for more questions. So I don't care if you asked a question this week, or maybe you know somebody that might have a good question. Tell them about it. Hit me up. And I love you guys so much. Have a great week. Love you. Goodbye.
The less I see, the more I wanna be alone. The world